In this video, I want to go over one of the things that gets me injured or hurt the most. It's one of the reasons why I am not able to get medical care or services, and it's one of the ones that makes me so mad I might actually one of these days break somebody. Like I did when that kid robbed me and broke my tooth, and I responded by breaking his skull. That was wrong. I could feel it. As soon as he broke my tooth, he used violence. He robbed me 3 times. I lost it. And I never want to be that person again. And of course, when somebody's burning you, beating you, trying to rob you at knife point, poisoning you, trying to lie about you, making up stories about you that you know are going to get you hurt, or have services that your livelihood depends on, like for instance, if you are receiving cash benefits to pay your rent, and then somebody comes around with a story that I don't know, it can't be these idiots like my father, mother, and these morons and the hicks that like to come up with stuff. But this is something that is very common. Like for instance, my roommate is very well not liked. Now, what is in his past, I don't know. I'm just a caregiver that takes care of old people. I had a list of old people in Massachusetts. But I've had these people, my neighbors, come into my store where I work, the store that I run, that I'm already having difficulties getting to, and tell me how they dislike my roommate, who is just some elderly people. Like if I were to leave, this roommate still wouldn't be there causing trouble. This 84-year-old was there when I moved in, and he'll be there when I leave, but these people still come into my work. Well, what do you think they do behind my back? Do you think they're not making up stories as well? If they're willing to come into my job, look me in the face, and tell me that they don't look like my roommate because of something they read online, something I know nothing about, some bullshit sex offense or who knows what the fuck it is, but they're coming into my work because they heard something in the grapevine and they don't like my roommate, and so they want me to do something about it. Like I have any fucking control over it. Well, what do you think they talk to my workers about? Let's say that there's a complaint to the landlord, and I am trying to get a new window put in. Let's say I want the landlord to put in new windows now after 7 years of waterfalls coming in, after there's been people hospitalized, my guests have got sick, and I'm asking for these waterfalls to stop. But the landlord has got a bunch of complaints. While I was at work, these people said, "Oh, the neighbor guy is looking at my children," when really the neighbor guy is just smoking a cigarette looking out in the space. I know him all the time. He's just staring in the space smoking a cigarette. He doesn't do anything but that. But it's easy to make a false complaint. Or they say, "Oh, that kid, he's doing something, he's destroying the building," when really I'm getting rid of a wasp nest during winter. Or they say, "That kid, he's destroying the building," even though really I'm inside my apartment and I'm just putting a screw or a nail through my furniture, putting my furniture together. But they hear hammers and screws and they go, "He's tearing apart the building." Or maybe they say they were hearing a fight go on. But really, it's upstairs who's fighting. Up above me, there's a fight going on every single week. But the people across the hall hear a loud bang, and they report it to be us instead. Something like that continues. And then there was cans in the backyard, and the landlord came to our apartment and said he was going to hit us and evict us if we didn't clean up these cans. So we have no clue what the fuck this landlord is screaming like a lunatic about. What are you talking about? "We got a complaint that you're putting cans on my property." So we go out looking for these cans. We can't find them. We find a Homer bucket with 2 cans in it. So we empty it, call him, tell him, "Well, I guess we took care of it. We don't know what you're talking about." "Of course you know." And he comes screaming some more, making some more verbal threats. Points it out on some hill or something, acting like a lunatic because he's getting these weird false complaints. Then my roommate at the age of 80, at the time 81, goes outside on a steep 90-degree angle. Actually, sorry, it'd be like uh, a straight half of a 90-degree angle. So it's not 180, it's not 90, it's anyways, I'm going to lose my train of thought. a steep where he's falling over and he's on his hands and knees and he can't stand up or he'll fall backwards. And he's trying to pick up these cans and put them in a small bag, but the other can's falling out as he puts cans in. And this old man is going to fall backwards and break his neck, all cleaning up stuff that has nothing to do with him. He's doing landscaping for free. Meanwhile, the landscaper laughs and laughs on his motorcycle, laughs his ass off, and the people who did it upstairs or downstairs or whoever's making these false complaints are laughing their asses off as this 81-year-old old man almost breaks his neck trying to pick up cans, hopping over pine trees and trying to hop over branches to get these cans so that way the landlord doesn't punch him in the face for something he knows nothing about. So, yes, these false complaints over and over. A neighbor decides to take his slingshot and he's having a big party upstairs or something, and he's flinging the cans with a slingshot, or who knows what they're doing. And then they decide, oh, we're gonna fuck with the people downstairs and get them out. So then they make a phone call. Hey, there's a bunch of cans. Now go clean it up, you fucker. Yeah. And then, oh, who did it? The sex offender downstairs and his house cleaner. Yeah, the caregiver guy. Yeah, he did it. And then next thing you know, I'm getting assaulted in the doorway, and nobody gives a fuck what happens. Okay, well, what continues? Okay, these complaints continue, and then they call my father about my disability. And what does my father do? He's a liar. He's a fantasizer. He's making up stories. My father says he's mentally ill. So my father, once again, is making up stories and false complaints and false stories. So then, now they think I'm some kid looking for attention, showing off his testicles as I bleed internally. Oh, great. Now I got blood in my testicles. What could get worse? Oh, great. 6 months ago, I go to use the bathroom and my urine has turned black. Have I been told why my urine turned black? No. Why? Because I got fantasy fuckers around me everywhere. I got fucking fantasy fuckers left and right. I had to deal with this with my mother, deal with this with my father. I had to deal with this with little kids in the orphanage and little kids in different programs. I've had to deal with this from homeless fucking idiots on the street who fucking don't know any better. I've had to deal with this from police officers who don't want to take responsibility for their actions, who say, well, we didn't know his uniform was his uniform. Yeah, we thought he was plain clothes. That's why we dragged a kid after a seizure across the floor. And then I got coworkers who don't want to get in trouble. Coworkers are doing stuff they're not supposed to. I tell my coworker I'm going to be making a complaint in the morning that just states that your attitude needs to be changed. And next thing I know, they're fucking making a false police report so that way I can't report them in the next morning. Oh, just fucking fantastic. And most recently, I got a guy outside my fucking window screaming like a lunatic that he's gonna kill himself. I have no idea who the fuck this is. So I try to look out the window seeing if somebody needs help. Oh no, it's the maintenance. It goes quiet. It's somebody who's working for the landlord. So at this point, I have to call an officer and make a report out. Because now somebody is fucking screaming like a lunatic, pretending to moan like I do coming down the stairs. And that fucking asshole's going to make a false complaint, isn't he? Yes, that's what he's going to do. He's going to make these noises and stay out of sight. Then he's going to call and say somebody's screaming suicide, suicide shit. And then he's going to tell the landlord that he sees somebody like me or something out there, and then this complaint is going to get reported, and then they're going to use this against me later. Meanwhile, the only thing I'm really doing is walking down the stairs. That's it. And when I go down the stairs, because I have to crawl sometimes or because I fall, I make a noise sometimes. So now they're outside making a noise, trying to figure out how they can fucking twist this. They might have even overheard some of my past videos going over this, because once again, I can't use my goddamn bedroom because it's infested beyond belief. I paid the landlord hundreds of dollars to get rid of it, and they're still fucking there. I've gone through over $1,000 in mattresses, and yet they're still there. Hundreds of dollars to the landlord's guy. We're not allowed to use anybody on our own. I tried to call my own bug people. I'm not allowed to. It has to be the landlord's guy, and it has to be the landlord scheduling it. Just fucking fantastic, huh? So with all these stories coming out of my mother for years, my father, we got the landlord trying to get away with shit. We got him literally asking his paid goons to try everything possible. You got fucking different. You got my roommate who doesn't, he's just useless and clueless. He doesn't know up from down. He doesn't even know how to describe an assault. He tried to describe that I was thrown down a flight of stairs when that never happened. So he can't even make an assault report correctly without totally going off the rails into La La Land. I mean, if we let my roommate report that assault, I would be in jail right now. They'd be asking, you said it was a flight of stairs, and you said he did this, and you said he did that, and you said he did this. Well, this camera footage shows it in the doorway. And so they would just throw the whole case out of court if I let my roommate handle stuff. So he's useless when it comes to the facts and trying to give the actual facts as they happened, where they happened, what happened. Same thing with a lot of people who aren't good at taking responsibility, like my father, the landlord. I mean, for instance, what happened that day? What did I do wrong? Well, for one, after he called me a junkie because I'm disabled and using a cane to hold myself up, after I have been sober for fucking like 7 years, and this landlord has never seen me high since I moved up here. Not once have I ever been high or under the influence since I've been up here with this landlord. Meanwhile, he's drunk shit faced on a regular basis about the fucking just drunk shit face. And he looked drunk this day as well. So he's just seeing me disabled, and now he wants to use hate speech because he doesn't like that I look funny. He doesn't like me looking funny and sounding funny, so he's going to call me names. So he goes right into the house, right when I say, are you going to do anything about these bed bugs after 3 years of me asking, are you going to do anything about this window? I have a piece of paper in my hand. He goes, no, do you got my rent for me? I say, I got a piece of paper for you first, right here. At that point, he goes, you're a junkie, you're an addict, you're nuts if you think I'm going to fix your window. Meanwhile, water has been waterfalling down into the walls for 7 years, down into other people. The ladies downstairs got sick and she moved out because she didn't want to fight the good fight. Upstairs have been coughing and inhaling like crazy, just crazy sounding. You got a gaping hole with mold all over it, waterfalls. I tried to clog it up so we wouldn't have waterfalls anymore, but there's only so much a tenant can do when the landlord is the person that has to do the stuff. So anyways, I don't say any of that. I'm just saying I got a letter with my rent right here. It's just a notarized letter. Nope, you're a junkie. I'm not taking that. You're a fucking junkie. I say, can you stop acting drunk for 1 second, please? It looks like you're under the influence of alcohol. This is a letter that clearly tells you what is damaged in your property and on your property. This letter is written and notarized by David, Ganji, and Zachary. And then he goes, tries to box me out, puts his ass in front of me. He says he's too hurt to do stuff, but he's trying to box me out like he's in a fucking football game. And then he goes over to the old man who can barely stand up, shaking. The old man shaking goes, give me my money. Come on, give me my money. So, at this point, I say, Bob, he has a letter for you right here. And he's trying to box me out. He puts his hands on me, literally boxes me out, whacks my hand out of the way, smacks my hand. Then he tries to give me my money, come on! And he's trying to intimidate the old man who's shaking in his chair. And the old man just wants this notarized letter and wants his apartment repaired. And he said that he's happy to give the money as soon as the landlord takes his paper, but now he's afraid to talk. And he has his money in his hand, and the landlord's trying to kind of get him to just pull it out. And then I go, don't you dare intimidate him. I come over to across the room, and I put my hand on David's hand. I put it down, I take the money, and I say, this money is for you, Bob, as soon as you take David's statement. At this point, he goes, ah, and just gets mad, and he starts screaming, looking like a big fat gorilla with a beer belly. Starts walking out the door. He's talking to me, I'm gonna fuck you guys up. I'm gonna fuck you good. I'm evicting you, yeah. Oh, and I go, Right when he gets on the door, I say, "This has been handed to you on camera, Bob. This letter is notarized once again by David Ganji of your repairs. It is notarized and given to you by David Ganji and Zach." And he turns around, grabs me, throws me under the door, starts kicking my damaged kidneys. Literally only like 2 weeks after my urine has turned black and I got out of the emergency room. "Yeah, we'll see what we say about your letter." Bam, 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 smack, smack, smack. I spin. I'm trying to get away from him. I push away and I spin right in fucking it. Oh no, I'm on the ground. He's gonna step on me and smash me now. I didn't want to spin in front of this fucker. I was supposed to be spinning away near the fucking phone for 911. God damn it, I can't get up. My intestines hurt. I'm stuck on the floor. I'm having trouble moving. When I finally get the strength to run around the house, I'm falling here, falling there, falling there. I'm screaming, I'm sweaty, I'm hurting. And he even admits on camera that he did all this. So what was my bad part? I called him a drunk after he called me a junkie. He was definitely under the influence. Meanwhile, I was just disabled and hurt. I even gave a blood, hair, and urine sample to the hospital just to make sure. Meanwhile, he wouldn't even take a breathalyzer. And he was trying to avoid the pickup of the warrant for weeks. He was running around trying to avoid getting picked up for his warrant. On top of this, it's very clear he was using hate speech and getting violent, and this isn't his first offense. He's come over here threatening violence on an old man if the old man didn't do his landscaping, and me, a disabled man, didn't do his landscaping for him. So this isn't the first time he's gone off the rails screaming violence on one of his tenants. He's known for this. But what do you think the landlord would say if you asked him what happened? "The kid is some drunk. He's some fucking addict. He's probably a junkie. He probably spent my money on drugs. He probably a fucking, there's no waterfall. There's no waterfall. There's no mold. That's the best apartment in the world." Yeah. And any damage the kid did. The hole in the door the kid was complaining of day one, he did it. All these crazy mushrooms coming in the floor, the door in the wall, the crayon in the bedroom, the kid did it. Nothing to do with the 10-year-old child before. Nothing to do with all these complaints from before. Oh yeah, the kid's responsible for the rusty pipes in the ceiling and the ceiling tiles coming down on their head. Yeah, they must have held a hose to the pipes for a year. Yeah, that's what they did. That's the landlord's opinion. So if you believe fantasy spinners like that, if you want to believe the landlord, if you want to believe my dead mother and my father, and if you want to believe my neighbors, yeah, I will be killed. You will kill me. You will do an unrighteous deed to somebody who's just trying to help out. That's it. I'm just a good Christian who is helping a disabled man who didn't know what the hell. I don't know what his deal is with that sex offense. None of my business, and it probably is bullshit. But you know what? It happened before I knew him. And the paperwork looks like bullshit. Well, that doesn't mean God still doesn't love him. And if we all abandon him, that makes him more of a danger. So it's better to have people helping him. So that's where I come in. Well, how about the other people? How about me doing nice deeds like clearing out the frickin' wasp nest during winter? Well, I don't want a wasp stinging me during summer. So if I kill it during winter, guess what? It won't sting me. Well, how about sweeping up the cigarette butts? Well, the landlord says there's no cigarette butts, and plus, I don't want to come home and look at that ugly mess. So I do these things out of kindness. But instead, they think I work for the landlord, or I'm some goody two shoes, or I have some deal, or I love sex offenders, or they just make up a story about me to try to get me out. No, let's move him to another place. Yeah, we don't want him in this town. Let's move him along. Yeah, if we tell enough stories about him, maybe we can get rid of him. Or maybe they're a landlord trying to save money, so if they can get rid of us, the people with pictures and videos of the property, maybe the new tenant won't know to take pictures. Maybe the next tenant will be stupid enough not to have a lawyer or know to take pictures, and then they'll get sick and lose their job, and then they'll just move that person out, and the chain repeats. I mean, I'm just too smart, and I'm reporting stuff. I'm reporting stuff to the EPA. I'm taking pictures of the dangers. I'm reporting a dumped septic tank that's rusting out in the back. Oh no, 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 no. We need to get him out. We need people getting sick after 3 years and moving to a different location. We can't have anybody actually open up a civil suit. We can't have anybody actually have them fix the windows. No, we want waterfalls going into those walls. That's the cheap way to deal with it. Let these poor people just get sick already. We don't want some rich landlord who lives in a beach house in Algonquin having to maintain his building. No, that's not what we do for rich people. No, rich people get it easy. No, the poor people deserve to get sick. So let the poor people move in. They'll get sick after 3 to 5 years. We'll tell them to move. They'll move. Then we move somebody else in. They get sick. So what if they complain about waterfalls? As long as they don't do what Zach's doing, then we'll get to keep renting this place out, keep getting people sick, keep on keeping the Rochester taxes flowing. The landlord can keep vacationing, living on a beach house in Algonquin. He can keep buying his kids cars. Everything keeps flowing. And the poor people just live with lifelong illnesses, lung disorders, asthma, just stuff like that. The 10-year-old who moves into the extra bedroom with the father or visits it on weekend, he'll only have asthma for the rest of his life. No big deal. He comes from a poor family. Who cares, right? Fucking I care. I'm a good Catholic. I believe that there is no good reason for poisoning another human being when there's a perfectly good alternative like maintaining your building. We do not pay such high rents just for the landlord to get more vacations. We pay high rents so that way landlords can maintain the properties that they own and that we live in. If we have waterfalls coming in, mushrooms in the floor, rusty pipes in the ceiling tiles falling on our head, bugs infesting 2 bedrooms, and a bunch of other problems, that's where our rent money is supposed to be going. Not for vacations and beach houses. But, of course, he's rich and has lawyers, so he can beat the system. And we get to stay sick. So we never get there. We get to stay sick for the rest of our lives because of a bunch of rich assholes. My mother wants to play doctor. That's fine because I'm an orphan and she is rich, so she gets to poison me. She wants to take that orphan across state lines because too many doctors and teachers are catching on. That's fine again. She wants to move that kid to New Mexico as soon as he opens his mouth. Fine again. Wants to move him to Maine. Fine again. Wants to move him to Chelmsford. Fine again. Doesn't matter as long as they're poor. That's the key. It's not about black. If you try to do this to a black rich person, you will go to jail. You try to do this to a rich Spanish person, you will go to jail. But you do this to a poor white person, you're fine. Pick up any poor white orphan you want at the age of 5. You can poison him and bring him to state. Just follow my mother's advice and my father's advice, and you'll get to cripple that child really good, and you'll never have to pay the price. Just listen to my mother's advice. That's called slow him down, poison him, drug him, make up a bunch of stories, move him around to state, then bring him back and continue making up the stories and let the doctors take over. And you will have a disabled child in no time. Just follow the recipe. My mother and father made up a recipe. It's called make up stories, take the child's medals away. Yep. Any accomplishments or medals your child says he has or brings from you, like let's say your child was playing wiffle ball and won a brass medal that the orphanage gave to him. Just make sure to take that away and belittle your child to really fuck up the head. Make sure to over medicate the child and tell other people it's depression. Make sure that if you do experience an overdose in your child, to just let them sleep it off and keep it a secret. If any teachers or doctors start being any the wiser, you got to put your child in ballet or something like that. That will confuse the child and confuse the teachers and everybody around them because the child will be talking about the ballet issue. And then you just move him right to Texas as soon as the trouble starts coming your way. There's a lot of these little things you can do. Also, remember, there's multiple reasons for you to do anything. So if anybody asks why you're moving your child to Texas, you just tell them you want to change the scenery. My husband has a job offer. Just give them all the reasons, but the fact that you just gave your son an overdose and your son has a neurological